Every F1 driver has an origin story. Some came from the trenches, one from a billionaire family, while others made it through pure racecraft. But which driver has the best come up of them all? To answer that, I'll be going over all of their origin stories in 20 minutes. Charles Leclerc is the only F1 driver currently on the grid that was born in Monaco. And racing was already in his family, as his father used to be a Formula 3 driver who became a massive inspiration to him. When he was 7, he began his racing career with karting, becoming champion in multiple series from 2005 until 2013. Afterwards, he moved on to Formula Renault when he was 16, earning his first podium in just his second race and also winning 2 times at his now second home race, Monza. He took multiple Formula 3 wins in 2015, became GP3 champion in 2016 and won the Formula 2 championship in 2017 before getting promoted to F1 in 2018 to drive for Sauber. He went to Ferrari in 2019 and has since then, besides being on an absolute emotional roller coaster, won a race 8 times, took 27 pole positions with his great qualifying pace, and what's my personal favorite moment, won his home race in 2024. His origin story is A tier for sure. Oh yeah, I'm putting them all in a tier list, but there's only one S tier spot, so we'll have to decide who's gonna get it. Alexander Albon drives under the Thai flag but was originally born in Westminster in the UK. Starting his karting days at 8 years old, he took many wins at events in the country and later on also won international championships when he was 13. At 16 years old, he got into Formula Renault, not really dominating until 2 years later when he finished 3rd in the Euro Cup standings. Moving through Formula 3, GP3 and Formula 2 over the next few years, he got several wins and podiums before his F1 debut in 2019 with Toro Rosso. Halfway through that season, however, he got promoted to Red Bull Racing and stayed there for 2020, getting 2 podiums and being very close to winning. And while he wasn't on the F1 grid in 2021, he competed in DTM instead. Coming back as a Williams driver in 2022, he stayed with the team until now and will be there for longer on a multi-year deal. C tier for that one.
I know this song. This is the only Taylor Swift song I know.
Oliver Bearman is our first Gen Z driver on the list. Fernando Alonso had already won 7 times before this guy was even born. Growing up in Essex, he began karting when he was 8, moving on to Formula 4 when he was 15. On his 3rd F4 race, he took the win alongside multiple podiums in his first season, but the year after, he dominated even more in F4, taking 11 out of 21 victories, winning the German and Italian championships. In 2022, he joined Formula 3 with Prema, taking 1 win and multiple podiums, while also competing in 6 Formula regional races as a side quest. In 2023, he drove for Prema in F2, ending 6th in the standings, continuing in 2024 as well, while suddenly making his F1 debut on top of that because he had to step in for Carlos Sainz at Ferrari and later that season for Kevin Magnussen at Haas, which from the 2025 season onwards has been the team he's driving for in F1 and he's staying with them on a multi-year deal. B tier.
I feel like I'm a 13-year-old child.
Oscar Piastri was born and raised in Australia, and his dad owns a software company which also sponsored his junior Formula career. Starting at 10 years old in karting, he won many Australian races and titles before moving over to Europe to compete there. At 15, he made his F4 debut, doing some races in the UAE, and the year after competing in a full year of F4 where he was runner-up in the championship. He drove in Formula Renault for 2 years before winning the F3 championship in 2020 in his first year driving for Prema. He then repeated this in F2, winning the championship in his rookie year, and afterwards he was Alpine's reserve driver for the 2022 F1 season. After this bombshell tweet dropped, he started driving in Formula 1 full-time at McLaren from the 2023 season and onwards, which was timed greatly because McLaren's car improved massively that year and he's in the race to become world champion now. Definitely A tier.
I destroyed the town!
Isack Hadjar is a Frenchman with Algerian roots who was born in Paris, and for once, racing was not yet in his family. His love for motorsports began very early on after, like every single kid, watching the movie Cars and deciding that it would become his thing. He started karting at 7 years old and made his F4 debut at 14, winning at Spa on only his third ever round. In 2022, his F3 journey began, immediately becoming a championship contender, and for 2023, he moved up to F2, where his first year went alright, but in his second year in 2024, he was in a title fight against Bortoleto, where he ended up second. Hadjar then first became a reserve driver for both Red Bull and Racing Bulls before getting promoted to a full-time drive with the sister team for the 2025 season, and he will continue driving for the Red Bull family in 2026. Central C tier.
Alright.
Shut up!
Yuki Tsunoda was raised in Tokyo, Japan, and his dad took him to go karting at only 4 years old, starting his professional karting career when he was 10. He moved onto F4 at 16, where he won his first race a year later and his first championship another year after that. During this time, he also got in touch with Honda for the first time, who drastically helped him make it out of Japan into international motorsports such as F3 when he was 19. He took one win in his only F3 season before moving up to F2 in 2020, where he finished third in the championship. In 2021, he got promoted to F1 to drive for AlphaTauri, and the aspiring to be restaurant owner has performed consistently over the past 4 years, while also being viewed as the rager of the grid. He's matured a lot recently, and as of March of 2025, he got promoted, demoted, I'm not sure, to Red Bull Racing. B tier.
Worst piece of shit I've ever driven in my life.
Lance Stroll was born in Canada into a billionaire family after his dad made his money with fashion investments, and his son's racing career was about to be his next. He began his karting career at 10, and even in those days, Lawrence was already buying him the best equipment and hiring coaches and data engineers for him. He won the F4 championship in 2014, mainly because his dad massively backed his team Prema so that his son could perform the best possible. But it gets crazier, as in F3, his dad spent nearly $40 million to fund his son, buying him private testing sessions, Michael Schumacher's former race engineer, and a simulator that basically nobody else had access to. He made his F1 debut in 2017 with Williams, went to Racing Point for 2 years, and has now been with Aston Martin since 2021, basically achieving nothing much. So then why is he with the team? Yeah, okay, E tier.
Baby, don't hurt me.
Kimi Antonelli is from Italy, and both his parents were already involved with racing, and when he started karting at 7, he went on to win a lot of titles over the course of 7 years, and also signing for the Mercedes Junior team. In Formula 4, he won 2 championships in the same year during 2022, and he achieved similar success in Formula Regional, winning 2 championships in 2023 as well. Skipping Formula 3, he went straight into F2 in 2024 with Prema, and while the season started slowly, he ended up 6th in the standings with multiple wins. For 2025, Kimi managed to get an F1 seat at Mercedes, replacing Lewis Hamilton and being 18 years and 203 days old on his debut, making him the 3rd youngest F1 driver ever. He even invited his entire high school class to the Imola Grand Prix paddock for a field trip, and it was also just confirmed that he will be driving for Mercedes in 2026. A tier story.
Gasly!
Pierre Gasly spawned inside of Rouen, France in 1996, and just like everybody else, his dad used to race, but so did his grandparents as well. He jumped into karting at 10 and quickly started beating everyone, and by 2013, he won the Eurocup Formula Renault title, joined the Red Bull Junior team, and looked like the next big thing. Then came GP2, where he won the 2016 championship, and of course, Helmut Marko was screaming on the phone right after to get him into Toro Rosso for the 2017 season. He drove there for 2018 too, before getting upgraded to Red Bull for the 2019 season. However, that didn't last too long, as he got yeeted back to Toro Rosso mid-season to make space for Alex Albon. The season after, however, he won won at Monza, becoming the first Frenchman to win an F1 race in 24 years. After 2 more years with the team, he swapped over to Alpine, where he's been driving ever since with a contract until 2028. That's a C tier.
I can't, it's broken, it's broken!
Lando Norris appeared in Bristol in 1999, and while yeah, he came from a comfortable background, he backed it up with insane talent. He jumped into karting when he was just 7, and by 14 he was world karting champion, which basically fast-tracked him into every junior series worth caring about. Over the next few years, he just kept on winning in every series he competed in, all before he even turned 18. McLaren signed him straight out of Formula 2 after he finished runner-up in 2018, and he's been their baby ever since, and it's hard to picture the team without him anymore. It took Lando a long time to get his first F1 race win, but after many close calls and the McLaren becoming one of the fastest cars on the grid, he finally did it at the 2024 Miami Grand Prix. And he's now pretty close to becoming world champion for the very first time. This might not age well. B tier.
I have a net worth of 0.
Liam Lawson was born in Hastings, New Zealand in 2002, and his parents were so supportive of his racing career, they sold their house to fund it. He started karting at 7 and won almost everything there was back home, while at 16 he became the youngest ever Toyota Racing Series championship winner. Red Bull noticed his aggressive driving style and added him to their junior team, sending him to Europe to compete in Formula 3. In 2023, when Daniel Ricciardo broke his hand, Liam got the emergency F1 call-up at AlphaTauri to drive for multiple races, and he immediately impressed by scoring points at the Singapore Grand Prix. In 2024, he was put into the V-Carb team for the final few races of the season before getting promoted to Red Bull Racing for 2025. Only for 2 races, however, and he's now back at Racing Bulls. Yeah, C tier.
This guy only knows how to drive starting first.
Fernando Alonso was born in 1981 in Oviedo, Spain, and about a third of the grid wasn't even alive when he started racing. By the time most kids were learning to read, Fernando was out there winning races, and by 12 he was Spanish karting champion. He tore through junior series like Formula Nissan and Formula 3000, and afterwards catching the eye of Flavio Briatore, who basically fast-tracked him straight to F1. He made his debut in 2001 with Minardi, scored his first podium in 2003, and then made history in 2005 by becoming the youngest ever world champion at the time, and then became champion again just a year later. Since then, he's driven for everyone: Renault/Alpine, McLaren 2 times, Ferrari, and now Aston Martin. This guy raced Michael Schumacher and is now competing against brain-rotting 18-year-olds. Definitely a contender for S tier, but A tier. Nico Hülkenberg is the definition of a slow burn legend. Born in Germany in 1987, he tore through the junior scene by winning a lot everywhere he entered, from Formula BMW to Formula 3 and GP2, where he took the title in 2009. He showed insane promise early, even taking pole position at Interlagos in his rookie year. But then came the curse. Over 200 starts, countless near misses, but somehow no podiums. But then finally in 2025, while driving for Sauber at Silverstone, Hülkenberg got his first podium after 14 years and 208 races, and everyone loved that. That's B tier for sure. Carlos Sainz grew up in Spain as the son of Carlos Sainz Sr., who is a 2-time World Rally champion, which means that his childhood wasn't about toy cars, but about race cars instead. By 2010, he joined the Red Bull Junior team and he jumped through Formula BMW, Renault 3.5 and Formula 3, stacking up wins and making a name for himself. He made his F1 debut in 2015 with Toro Rosso, being paired with, at the time, rookie Max Verstappen. After a few solid seasons, he became F1's most traded driver, going to Renault, McLaren, and then Ferrari, where he went from solid number 2 to actually winning races, taking 3 total victories. Despite his consistency, Ferrari let him go for Hamilton, and he made the bold move to join Williams for 2025, which has been going quite alright. Another B tier.
Oh my...
Franco Colapinto is the first Argentinian F1 driver in 24 years, and he was born in 2003 in Buenos Aires, starting karting at 9 and quickly becoming a national sensation, winning the Argentinian karting championship before heading to Europe to go bigger. He got noticed fast, winning the Spanish F4 championship in 2019 in his rookie season, absolutely dominating with 11 wins. From there, he climbed through Formula Renault and Formula 3, getting wins with MP Motorsport. In 2023, he joined the Williams Driver Academy, then stepped up to F2 in 2024, finishing 4th overall. That was enough for Williams to put him in F1 for the last 9 races of the 2024 season, and in 2025, he's been at Alpine since the 7th race, making him Argentina's first F1 driver in over 2 decades. I would say C tier.
My pickaxe is fucked.
Max Verstappen drives under the Dutch flag, but came into the world in Belgium in 1997 to a family so caught up in racing, it's a miracle he didn't come out holding a steering wheel. His dad was an F1 driver and his mom used to drive karts, and that mix created a monster. He started karting at 4 years old, coached by his totally loving dad, and at 16 he jumped straight into Formula 3, won 10 races, and that was enough for Red Bull to say, yeah, forget the license rules, get him in the car. He made his F1 debut in 2015 with Toro Rosso at 17, becoming the youngest driver ever, and in 2016 he got promoted to Red Bull and immediately won his first race in Spain, becoming the youngest winner ever. And since then, he's become a 4-time world champion, record breaker for the most wins in a season, and the reason that every Sunday sucked for 2 years straight if you're not Dutch. No, A tier. Gabriel Bortoleto is the only Brazilian F1 driver on the grid, and he was born in Sao Paulo in 2004, and he grew up with racing all around him because his dad owned a small racing team. By the time he was a teenager, he was already racing in Europe, living out of vans with his family and going up against names like Kimi Antonelli. He stepped into Italian F4 in 2019 with Prema, scored multiple podiums in his rookie season, and kept on climbing. Formula Regional, then Formula 3 with Trident in 2023, where he absolutely schooled the field by becoming champion in his rookie year. He moved up to Formula 2 in 2024, became champion after a year-long battle with Hadjar, joined the McLaren Driver Academy, and then got promoted to F1 with Sauber for 2025, where he's also staying for 2026. Let's say C tier.
He just fully turned into me.
George Russell was crafted in Kings Lynn in the UK. Everything about him was structured, and he started karting at 7, working his way up through the British ranks with a level of discipline that beat almost all of his competition. He climbed the single-seater ladder fast and absolutely dominated in F2, winning the championship for ART Grand Prix. Mercedes signed him to their junior program in 2017, and after F2 dropped him straight into the deep end with Williams in 2019, at times blaming everything on anyone but himself. During the 2020 Sakir Grand Prix, George had to step in for Mercedes and nearly won his first race. Ever since the 2022 season, he's been a full-time Mercedes driver, won 5 times, and he's currently on a multi-year deal beyond 2026. I'm going with B tier.
Esti on the podium, baby!
Born in France, Esteban didn't come from big money at all, just from a small-town mechanic dad who was a former racing driver and a family willing to risk it all. When Esteban started karting, their budget ran out fast, so the Ocons sold their house, their garage, and basically their entire life, bought a camper van and lived on the road for 3 years, traveling across Europe so he could keep racing. By 17, he won the Formula 3 European Championship, joined the Mercedes Junior program, and then took the GP3 title in 2015. He got his first F1 seat in 2016 with Manor before moving to Force India the next season. However, he lost his seat in 2019 when Racing Point became Daddy Stroll's team and became reserve driver for Mercedes before joining Renault in 2020. Just a year later, he won his first Grand Prix in Hungary and is currently driving for Haas, scoring pretty good points. Absolute A tier for that come-up story.
Through goes Hamilton!
Lewis Hamilton was born and raised in Stevenage, and after his dad Anthony gave him a go-kart for Christmas at 6 years old, he went on to win several karting titles and a few years later got signed for the McLaren Young Driver program by Ron Dennis. From 2001 until 2006, he dominated in several series, for example, winning 10 out of 15 races in Formula Renault and 15 out of 20 races in Formula 3, grasping both those championships. After winning the GP2 championships in 2006, he made his F1 debut in 2007 with McLaren, which is arguably the best in history, as he was only 1 point away from becoming world champion as a rookie. The very next year, he claimed his first ever F1 championship by making an overtake on the final lap, and in 2013, his absolute dominance began with Mercedes. Winning a total of 6 world titles at Mercedes with 4 of them in a row, he's now statistically the best F1 driver that has ever entered the sport. And since 2025, he's been driving at Ferrari, which isn't really working out just yet. With everything he's faced, that is pure S tier to me. Everybody always asks for subs. I just ask you to add me on Duolingo. Pretty simple, right?